Today is Sunday, April 12th, 2015, and I am currently 2.5 weeks post-op from having gastric sleeve surgery. I had gastric sleeve surgery on March 25th. I am down 22 pounds since I came home from the hospital, down to 308, and I'm 48 pounds down since I started this journey in November 2014. A lot has happened since my last video. My last video was on Wednesday. So just kind of get you guys caught up, I went back to work on Thursday. I did not make it a full day at work. I had a great conversation with my boss whenever I came back, and my boss and the company that I work for, they've been very supportive of me throughout this journey. And, you know, especially my boss, and she told me to take it easy and to not push myself, because that's what I do is I'm a workaholic and I push myself. And she said that to, you know, move at my pace and, you know, do what I need to do to be healthy. So like I said, I lasted 5 hours. The reason I lasted 5 hours is, I think, because I was sedentary at my desk and I didn't get up and walk enough. I was just sitting there checking emails, getting caught up of being out of the office for 2 weeks, and I didn't pay attention to my body. My back started hurting, and I think it's because I was sitting ergonomically correct, which I hadn't done in 2 weeks at a desk. Been, you know, lounging on the sofa or in the bed. And my back started hurting, and then my stomach started hurting. And I just kind of sat there. So I did notice, though, that I got a lot more liquids in because I was working and drinking at the same time. So I definitely got my water intake for that day, my Powerade in. I made sure on Friday, I lasted 7 hours, that I was up walking more and that I was listening to my body. My body was telling me, okay, Amy, it's time to get up. It's time to get out of this chair. And I listened to it. And, you know, maybe I was in the middle of writing an email, but I saved it and I got up and I walked and I refilled my water. Or I walked around the floor once. I'm sure people were like, what is she doing? Or I walked out and, you know, talked to my employees instead of, you know, Skyping with them or sending them an email. I'd get up and talk to them about a subject. So I was definitely more active, and I felt a lot better on Friday than I did on Thursday going back to work. Also on Thursday, I get to introduce some new foods to my diet. I am on stage 3 that of the food plan that my clinic has, and that means that I get to introduce some different foods, some soft meats, and this is what they call the pureed stage. So anything you eat needs to be pureed. So some foods that I've been eating recently have been tuna with some light mayo. So delicious. It almost reminds me of tuna salad, which I was a huge fan of before my surgery. I bought some shredded chicken so that I can puree that and add some of the light mayo to it as well. I also bought some chicken broth and some vegetable broth so that I can add it into the meats. The dietitian gave me some great tips on adding that to the meats, because when you puree them, they become dry and they don't go down as easily. So adding some type of a liquid to the pureeing of the meats helps. I started eating baked potatoes, which are so good. Now, I don't get to eat the skin, obviously, but I'll bake the baked potato and basically turn them into pureed potatoes, mashed potatoes, by adding some of the, I can't believe it's not butter, spray butter, and a little skim milk, and just kind of mash them together and, you know, make a really kind of a little runny, you know, mashed potato. But it's been exciting to introduce those foods. So I did overdo it on Thursday and really overdo it on Friday. I got to up my ounce intake to 3 ounces, and I found that, oh, I can have 3 ounces, so now I'm going to eat 3 ounces. And I took it easy on Thursday, was a little kind of stuffed, very full, and then on Friday I completely overdid it. I had 3 ounces for every meal, and I just felt so full. Like, I felt like all my food was sitting right here on my chest, and it's like it wasn't digesting, but I was hungry. So it's like, well, I need a drink or I need to eat. Even though my food's sitting here, I'm still hungry. So I was really afraid that on Friday or Saturday morning, I was going to have dumping syndrome, which I've heard a lot of people talk about, where basically their food just dumps and it's very painful. But luckily that didn't happen to me. I did wake up on Saturday with some heartburn, but I definitely overdid it on the food intake just because I could have the 3 ounces. So I've backed off from that, took it easy yesterday and today on my food intake. And I've introduced eggs to my diet. Eggs have never tasted so good. And I'm able to add a little bit of fat-free shredded cheese to my eggs, make sure that they get melted, the cheese gets melted. And that has been also one of my new favorites, food that I've introduced to my diet since I'm on stage 3. I made some oatmeal cookies today. The clinic that I go to gave us this cookbook, and it's fresh ideas for healthy bariatric eating. And it's great because the recipes also tell you at what stage you can have the different foods. Now, I'm on stage 3, so I made these oatmeal cookies, and I made the stage 4 recipe for my boyfriend Jason, and then I had the not baked version of the oatmeal cookies and was able to digest it. So the oatmeal cookies have some really great ingredients in them, nothing too heavy. You basically take 3 bananas and you mash them up, and then you add in 1/3 cup of unsweetened applesauce, 2 cups of steel cut or old-fashioned oats, 3 tablespoons of skim milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now you can also add some PB2 to your oatmeal cookies. I love PB2. I put it in my protein shakes, so I definitely put it in my oatmeal cookies. And the cookies turned out great. In fact, Jason took them home with him, so I know that that's a good sign that he liked them. And what I had of the oatmeal cookies, I basically portioned them out into 2 ounces, refrigerated them, and they taste like some oatmeal on steroids. I mean, they're so yummy. You can taste the cinnamon, you can taste the bananas, and I'm definitely planning on having that for breakfast the next few days, maybe even lunch, because they're so good. And they also help me to satisfy a sweet craving that I was having. They weren't too sweet, but it just kind of satisfied that craving for me. If you make the cookies, you bake them on 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. I found that I used the whole 20 minutes to bake the cookies, and they turned out great. I've also started introducing some more exercise into my diet. Not full-on gym exercise. I haven't been released to do that, but I've started doing some more walking. And today, Jason and I took some steps to getting healthy as a couple. You may remember from one of my first videos, I introduced you guys to Jason and kind of his thoughts and feelings on the surgery. And one thing he was most excited about was us being more active as a couple. So today we took those first steps. We went hiking. I have never been hiking before. I've done like easy trails here and there, but today we went to one of the local state parks and we did a 1.5 mile hike. 1.5 mile hike, and it was moderate, they call it. There's easy, moderate, and rugged. So we kind of started middle range, and we did great. Jason was very supportive of me. I told him before we went, I'm like, I'm looking forward to go, but, I need you to, go at my pace and help me. And he was just absolutely wonderful today. He was great. You could definitely tell that he was enjoying us getting out and being active as a couple. We've decided that we're going to do all 12 trails that they have. They range anywhere from like 0.5 miles easy up to like 3.8 miles rugged. And we've decided that this summer, the goal, actually this year, the goal for ourselves is to do all 12 trails. So I'm really looking forward to that as a couple. Jason has a really great way of encouraging me. For example, today on the trail, he was right there with me step by step. He, if we come to a part where I wasn't really sure what to do, he would just say, watch me and do what I do. And, he would reach his hand out and I would take it and I would, he'd help me down, at different elevations and whatnot. And he did that in the beginning. And then towards the middle, he started, encouraging me to do things on my own. He's like, why don't you try this and, try it by yourself. I'll go first. I'll be down here to help you, catch you if you fall, but try it on your own. And I tried it on my own and it went really well. So, his way of encouraging me was definitely great. And towards the end, he would, we'd come to some areas that were full of mud and whatnot. He'd be like, okay, so how are we going to get across here? What would you do? So he kind of let me take the lead a little bit, and it was just great spending that time, being active and being healthy as a couple. He, didn't get frustrated when I needed to stop for some hydration, for some water, and he was just very supportive. And like I said, I had a great time with him today. I'm looking forward to this year and us becoming more healthy as a couple. Hopefully we can go get on those roller coasters soon, but, we'll see what happens. So that just kind of catches you guys up on where I'm at, kind of a long video today, but a lot has happened since I posted on Wednesday. So I'm doing great. I'm feeling great. I'm still looking to meet that 50-pound mark. Losing 50 pounds since my journey. I go back to the doctor on Thursday. I think everything's going to go well. My incisions look great and I'm feeling great. So happy Sunday, everyone. I hope that your work week is beautiful and blessed.